everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tube, or welcome back. If this is your sixth Nancy Drew Season 4 episode review, hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying safe out there in the big girl world. I apologize that I'm a day late on this. I had some family issues happen, so as I always say, family is important. Family is always number one, so the review could have waited a day. And honestly, considering how this episode was for the first time in Season 4 so far, we actually diverge from the main plot line and kind of we're into developmental territory, which again, so far this season is giving me the vibes of this was a last minute CW decision to we're ending the show here, because none of the stuff this season so far has been proven me. It's not been definitively we're ending it. There have been aspects that they've introduced so far that it perceives to me that yes, we are going to the end, but at the same time it still feels in that whole new beginning category where it seemed like they had more stories to tell. But with that being said, this was a fun side episode. It was just fun. It wasn't the best episode in the whole show or anything. And again, you're just gonna have these very casual episodes where you're just having a little bit of fun, diving into more of the mythos, expanding it, and this was mainly, it was mainly a side episode because, again, none of the main storylines have continued. This is just side stuff continuing to progress the story forward, which, again, is necessary even for a 13-episode show. You kind of do need to, have those episodes to kind of, take a step back. Not every episode needs to hit the acceleration brake, especially now that we're past the initial 5, that we can now have that opportunity to progress forward with things. But regardless, this was just a fun episode. Very much needed to kind of, after last week's crazy freaking episode with the freaking skinwalker looking thing. This also kind of played with my nightmares a tad bit, just a tad bit. But that being said, let's go for the butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Nancy Drew. So we begin the entire Drew crew's at the investigations castle. They're trying to draw up their best drawing of the creature they saw the night before. They all have very, very, very these guys are not Picasso. They're not Picasso at all. Even Ace sending his own interpretation via text message, which once again we're resuming the whole Ace and Nancy are just really not trying to be in the same room that often. / Ace is trying to have a stable job. I think Ace is the only responsible one that oh, I have a shift today, I'm gonna be there. It's George and Nick are barely there half the time. I know they're owners, but I'm it's a pretty small restaurant, so I'm I don't think you're making enough profit to really have things be self-sustained. And Bess is literally okay, the Historic Society is basically in scrutiny right now, so wouldn't the prime time to go and be with the Historic Society? I know they're all Nancy's friends, but I'm guys, you guys all have jobs. It's you always drop everything for Nancy. It's regardless of what the case might be. Bess is once again kind of teasing Nancy along that maybe Nancy should really get back out to dating since her and Ace had a talk, and Ace is nope, not gonna happen right now. I'm solely focused on solving this big unpaid mystery. But before she's even able to do that, she's doing a supplemental activity. She's going to career day at her old high school, which I'm you only graduated less than 2-3 years ago, and you're already being asked back for career day. I say this a lot, and it's kind of funny where I admit that for some reason I feel it's not appropriate to go back to your old school until it's at least been 10 years, a decade. Because my only criticism of that is it's not even that long ago you just left and you're exploring these narrow halls again. It's I don't know, it kind of feels cheap where I made this joke, I'm pretty sure at a different episode of the show at some point, not the show, my overall show, where it was, I forgot what show it was, but especially you graduate high school, you're supposed to be in college or doing your new life, you're the beginning of your adult life, and you just go back to high school literally a few months, which I'm the whole point of you trying to do this new chapter is not to be there. I will admit I did go back to my high school just to help out a friend of mine. But that was a year after I left. A year, at least a year. I didn't go back any time earlier. And I think that was the last time I've been to that school physically inside since then. So It's been a while and some change, but I will just say, like, yeah, so Nancy going back after 2-3 years, and also them just asking Nancy, hey, do you want to come through to your high school, do a career day for your just launched business? Come on through, which I'm like, so she heads down there, and it's just like, yeah, this career day is just like a total. And again, I never really understood why there is high schools, middle schools, full on big ass buildings for like such a small town. And again, maybe I'm just like, I always think like, oh, 75,000 people is nothing. Honestly, it is nothing, because like, I don't know, like, how many kids can there be in a town? Like, how many families are raising their kids like to warrant such a big school? Like, I don't really know. I don't know. Maybe because I live in New York City, that's why. She's there, she's trying to like appease to these kids about like the dangers of her profession, of how many cool investigations she's done, and she even has a whole freaking catchphrase, and I'm just like, Nancy, why? Oh my god, I thought I dealt with one corny thing this year with another favorite character on a TV show I review. I had two. I'm like, come on, like, give me a break, man. Give me a freaking break. But yeah, so it's just. But anyway, continuing onwards. She eventually gets unended by Tristan, the fisherman that she kind of like already has a crush on her. He's also the son of the two relic hunters we saw at the end of season 3 / the beginning of this season. So yeah, he got invited too, because again, small town, and I'm like, bro, why are you doing this right now? Why are we doing this? And for some reason, everyone in town's like, oh my god, you're a fisherman? You wrangle in fish with crabs and lobsters? I'm like, if I was in that class, I'd be freaking sleeping right now. This is like a sleeping period for me. None of these people are really impressing me, and why am I not surprised? I'm sorry if I'm really just like, overhating on this town. I'm just in a mood today. I'm in a very fiery mood today. Nancy's leaving. She's like, okay, that was a waste of time. I'm out of here. Tristan attempts to like apologize to her for upending her, and he was just trying to like show off, because like Nancy does the cool shit, and I'm just fishing for crabs, and I'm just like, doesn't really help anything. Nancy's just trying to just get out of there as quick as she can, especially as he's continuously trying to flirt with her, which I'm like, dude, take the hint. She's just not interested in you in that way. Eventually, in the random hall, there's like a freaking aisle full of like silver streamers, which I'm just like, this is the most randomest place to put a freaking streamers on a career day. Like, how does this make sense, of any sort? So they go through it, and when they get on the other side, they end up back in the gymnasium, but it's different. It's got that weird, like, 70s, 80s type filter on it for some reason, and they look around. Yeah, it's 1972, and they as what we perceive them to be like as their regular selves, when they look in a mirror, they're two completely different people. And when they try to go back for the streamer, they're like, crap, we are stuck here. But we will come back to the 1970s in just a bit, as we go back to the 2020s, where Ace, actually doing his job for once, is commenting to his boss that he's like looking a little bit tired, a little bit worn out, and he's been like, yeah, like there was this ferret last night, kept waking me up, kept like trying to steal my garbage, and kept running away every time I was trying to get it. Eventually, Ace has the bright idea, is like, wait a minute, this is the ferret that Nancy's just been trying to hunt down since episode 1 of the show, not of the show, of the season. And he's like, this is my chance. This is my chance to, like, appease to Nancy. Like, we can still be friends after the freaking awful breakup they had. Not really awful, but you know what I mean. Bess, in the meantime, is also being officially, I don't know what the term is. The Historic Society has officially been is being closed off, because of the, accusation that that freaking, parent we saw a few weeks ago made against her. So they're in danger of losing it, and Bess is hiring Carson to be her lawyer for this matter, to see if he can stop it, which he's like, sure, he'll help out. He'll do what he can. George also gets roped into this because, again, George has nothing else to do. She missed registration. She doesn't have a clerkship anymore, so it's like, yeah, she needs to do something, and Carson's still very generous to like give her a bone or something. Eventually, I want to say, yeah, so Ace recruits Nick to help out with the ferret. Even, like, of course, Nick's just trying to be a fellow bro, and just like, I'm just checking in to make sure like you have some stability, that you're like having some human to human contact and everything. And now Ace is just dedicated to like, I'm gonna find this ferret, I need to get him. give me a hand. They even set a trap back at the claw. They almost did, but they failed epically, which I'm like, this reminds me of the old days of Nest Declassified where the freaking janitor was trying to hunt down that weasel. If anyone remembers that, I will commend you so much. So back to 1970. Nancy just is explaining Tristan on what they're probably in, because sometimes in the matter of new mythos, where sometimes there will be another dimension that randomly pops into your own, and sometimes you get sucked into it, and all of this, and now you need to like really find out how to get back. She initially is like, ruling out time travel because, it doesn't exist in this world apparently. And also the fact she had arguments with Tom Swift about, which I'm like, hey, obviously I miss Tom Swift a lot. I was actually, I'm still kind of hopeful. I'm still holding out that he will make an appearance at some point this season. I don't think they will because it's just too far gone. Actually, no, wait, time travel does exist because I forgot that was like the big finale for Tom Swift. So they don't mention timetable wise when this takes place, but considering how Nancy Drew progresses very slowly with timeline, and then Tom Swift just immediately jumped a whole year into the future, I'm assuming it hasn't happened yet, the events of his show. So irony, I guess, in that sense. Yeah, so eventually it's prom season, so everyone's getting ready for the prom. Nancy and Tristan just attempt to fit into like these roles they've been assigned to, trying to break their whatever these people were doing originally, just trying to figure out how do we get home. Eventually one of their friends invites them to like a little pre-prom party at Nancy's residence, even though Nancy's grandparents didn't own it yet. It still is very much a important spot for them. So that was where Nancy got broken up at the last trance she was in. So she's hopeful that this can we'll repeat it again. So they head over there. The party's going on, and Nancy decides to go and figure out how do we get back. And Tristan's like, just figure out who we are, what our identities are, what are our personalities, so that we at least have a head of like not alerting everyone that like we're not who we are. So Tristan's trying to mingle. Nancy finds this very paranoia boy in the middle, like just say, hey, I know the truth, man. I know the truth. This earth ain't what it's seen. I know the real trip you need to take. So they go up to the basement, and I'm just like, this is not gonna end well. This is not gonna end well. And this guy's like, I got the secret right here behind this freaking wall. And he opens the wall. It's a freaking spider web, which I'm like, oh no, we're getting to spider. I'm clocking out. I'm turning off the TV. I'm out of here. He takes an egg. He takes an egg and tries to give it to Nancy as basically a drug to them. That the venom from the spider eggs are going to give them like some sort of hallucination. But in that specific spider egg is an actual spider itself. It bites Nancy. Actually, it doesn't bite Nancy. It bites the person who Nancy is embodying right now. Eventually she just freaking gives the guy a roundhouse punch or something like that. Knocks him out cold, and not cold, but knocks him out pretty good. He's bleeding out of the nose. They're like, well, that didn't go anywhere, so what else can we do? And we get to a little Nancy Tristan bonding moment as they head over to the Historic Society, since that would provide the key to how will they be able to get back now. Nancy's talking about her mom. Tristan's just talking about like his prom experience, and very simplistic bonding moment, but it is very crucial for Nancy to open it up to new people. They hit the Historic Society, but however, they're a year early. The Historic Society will not be ready till next year, so they're fucked. They have relatively no other options right now because none of their friends or family would even be alive or able-minded at this point in the timeline. So they're fucked. But however, Tristan has the bright idea of like, wait, hold on. Maybe the whole key of this is to just go back to the school, go back to where this all began. Maybe that will provide the key to getting us home. So they say, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go to prom. Because guess what? Every TV show needs a prom episode at some point. We head back to the 2023, or 2023. I forgot what time. I forgot where we are in the time. No, 2021. Where George had one simple task to send out the letter for the disposition that Carson wrote for Beth's behalf. However, George decided to read it for some reason. And she gets insulted the fact that Carson is not being aggressive, he's not in the maneuvers, and that this letter is basically just like an admission of weakness. So George decided, I'm going to rewrite it myself and send it out in his favor, which I'm like, that is absolutely not what you should be doing, George, but guess what? She's gonna do it. I want to say by this point, Ace and Nick give up on their ferret search for a little bit. I think Nick just goes back to the claw to like actually resume working while Ace continues his ferret chase on his own. Yeah, I think at some point, I want to say George does send them the letter, and then Carson goes for the disposition in person, and he gets verbally insulted by the judge for the letter that the thing he wrote up, and obviously Carson knows that George rewrote it without his permission. And again, George, you're really thin ice here with this potential career of yours. You're not really doing so hot here. You're really not doing so hot here. So I believe by this point. That's when they're so Nancy and Tristan are at the prom. They're just, again, this is just a method for like Nancy to be pushed back into the romance zone with someone besides, Ace. It seems like it's working. Tristan's just trying to be like very friendly, just trying to be very nice, and it is working. Nancy is letting her guard down. She is like getting a little bit too close to him. Eventually she notices the streamers are, moving, meaning that yes, this is the time it's being released. This is the opportunity they have to go back home. So they run for it. However, Tristan's only able to get through, but Nancy isn't, because the spider bite that she had on her hand is preventing her from returning. So that means Tristan, the window of opportunity is gone. Tristan is now the only one able to go through the hole, and Nancy's now basically stuck in 1972. So Tristan runs for the other Drew crew members, explains them the situation. Bess basically figures out it's a ghost dimension, a ghost web dimension. So whatever entity created this like web of like time traveling, timey-wimey, supernatural stuff, it's got to be at the school. So they just have to repurpose a camera that Nick made back for the Wraith a couple seasons ago to go hunt down the ghost. So they head over. So while Bess and Tristan are busy creating a concoction to allow Nancy to come back home without the spiderweb entrance anymore. And this is where, again, Bess is like, I'm just assuring Tristan, trust me, we've gotten a way worse chance before. This is nothing. We'll all be fine by the end of this situation. So they head over to the school, and George, using the camera, finds the spider. Very creepy spider. It's just like, I will admit the CG is a little rough. It's, Nancy Drew's now really known for really great CG moments. So it's a little rough. So eventually, the rest reunite at the school. So they got the portal machine going. So all they need to do is like open the portal. They have a brief window. Someone's got to go in, get Nancy out, and bring her back. So they also notice that there is blood residue on the floor, meaning that Nancy in 1972 is getting hurt for some reason. So they have to pop back over. Tristan heads back in, finds Nancy bleeding on the ground. He lifts her up, manages to return her back through the portal. So now Nancy's back in 2021. So you assume it's all over, right? You assume it's all said and done. Not quite. We head over back to the Claw. They're enjoying supposedly a victory coffee. Thinking that, okay, it's over now. It's all said and done. We're back. Everyone's back. So now we can focus back on the thing. Bess is giving a little bit more example to what could have happened. That the spider probably was the one that killed the people that Nancy and Tristan were embodying in that 1972 sort of flash sideways, whatever you want to call it. And so like, that was it. Like, in reality, the girl got bit by the spider. It burst out of her and it killed the guy. And for some reason, it just stayed hiding in the school for over 50 years, waiting for someone to pop in, which I'm like, this is like the randomest shit on the planet. Like, that does not make sense whatsoever. And then eventually Nancy's like, okay, well, it's over. However, she starts coughing up blood, and then her bite, like, starts getting more aggressive, which is like, yeah, that spider egg is now multiple spider eggs in Nancy's belly, which I'm like, oh no, Nancy's pregnant. Oh God, this is not what I was fearing. I wasn't expecting this. I really was not expecting this whatsoever. When I turned on this episode, I really was. I've heard nothing from Twitter, and I'm like, damn. So they got no choice. They got to go back to the Historic Society, despite it being boarded up, which was pretty quick. It was pretty quick. They enacted on that right away. So George breaks in. They lie Nancy on the table. Bess finds a journal that allows them to like perform this freaking weird ass supernatural C-section. They pull out, and this is like horrendously disgusting, where like they pull out a freaking humanoid spider egg out of Nancy's body, and I'm like, I don't know how to, like, I'm very thankful because I've seen some fucked up shit in my life, and I'm like, this doesn't even come close to it. I'm like, this is like borderline, like this is creepy as hell. The instructions stop there. They don't have anything to do with like, okay, what do we do with the egg now? The egg just hatches to a full-grown spider right away. Starts attacking them. Again, CG's not the best here, but it's passable. They just don't know really what to do. It wants to kill Nancy, and then thankfully Ace comes in, stabs it in the heart, and they manage to throw the chemical that they had in the morgue that we got a reference to early in the episode. They pour it out, and that's it. The spider is dead. And I'm like, okay, now is it over? And yeah, it's over. It's over. So. All's well said than done. So thankfully that really helped their bacon. So afterwards we kind of like wrap up for the episode. Nick goes to check on Ace again, where yeah, so everything worked out all right. You know that, you know, again, like, you know, he just wants to be helpful to Nancy, you know, even though they're still exploring this new found connection in their life, you know, however it's going to be going forward. But also Ace manages to capture the ferret, so I'm like, okay, this is good. This could definitely be like the appeasement that he's looking for. George runs into Carson because, again, George is being the one charged with like breaking and entering to the Historic Society since it was boarded up by the police. But Bess confessed to like being involved in it, saying that like this is my responsibility. This isn't supposed to be yours. So now we need to all come up together to figure out how do we get out of this? How do we get the Historic Society back up to order? So that is the priority now going forward. And then we're back at Nancy Drew Investigations. Nancy's just like, you know, calling up Ryan just to let her know what's going on, and that's about it. She's about to have a night in, but Tristan shows up in a full-blown talk saying that, look, we never got to finish our dance at prom, and she's like, you know what? Better than just watching TV and just eating some ice cream. So she's just like, you know what? Let's just dance. And sadly, this is piss poor timing. Ace shows up, sees her, and I'm just like, I really feel bad for Ace because, like, I know Ace was the one who like said like we should just stop thinking about being romantically involved, just like start pursuing someone else. But the fact that Nancy's like dancing with a guy not that too long after, which I'm like, again, if he wasn't really there for the whole episode, so like he didn't understand the whole context of things. So, yeah, he feels heartbroken. Goes outside, says, "Fuck it, I'm not gonna help Nancy anymore." She just releases the ferret, but the ferret's like, "Nah, fuck you. I'm gonna bite you in the freaking finger." It's just not been Ace's day. It's just not been Ace's day. But that was it for this week's episode of Nancy Drew. Honestly, it was a funny episode. It was just a fun side episode. Again, pursuing Bess's battle for the Historic Society. The Tristan, the freaking the new like he's kind of like I'm gonna make this reference. If any, again, this is another like, you know, deep cup Nickelodeon reference from when I was a kid. This reminds me a lot about Zoe 101's 4th season, where Zoe and Chase are meant to be together. Like, it's been, you know, ironed out since like the show's first season. This is gonna happen, and then something happens where they're just not gonna get together at any point during the 4th season for any longevity of time. And then this new guy comes in and takes away the girl. It's kind of giving me those vibes, except like we never really got to see scenes of Chase like reacting to the guy, which actually happens to be now Oscar Academy nominated Austin Butler. But this is kind of giving me those vibes a little bit, where like, you know, we're getting the bonding between them. It seems to be working out pretty well. And yeah, I just feel bad for Ace. I really do. Like, Ace has just been sidelining himself. He was literally throwing himself into like, you know, like not moral peril, but just like unnecessary headaches just to like appease to Nancy. But like, you know, that's just not paying out whatsoever. George, you know, honestly, again, George is like still got some ways to go to be a lawyer, but like, you know, she's got moxie. I'll admit that. I'll admit that much. But either way, the whole spider web, you know, storyline was funny. It was just like, it's not plausible to believe at all in anything supernatural related, but like, it still was fun. It was just a fun episode. Just, you know, let's, you know, take a break, you know, have one of these episodes, you know, we'll get back to the Skinwalker stuff, the freaking, like, the poison water. We'll get to back to all of that eventually, but, like, this was just a fun, nice way to, like, let's get a prom episode of Nancy Drew, and, you know, that all worked out. That all, like, you know, paid off at the end. But that being said, I'm going to give this episode 2 thumbs up, you know, still enjoyed it a lot, even for, like, a kind of a quasi-filler episode. It was just a lot of fun. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this week's episode of Nancy Drew. I would love to hear your comments down below, as always. But I believe that's going to do it for me today, everyone. So if you're on what's been What's to from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the final season of Nancy Drew. If you want to know what we're doing normally, What's to Do, beside our Nancy Drew episode reviews, currently right now we are also reviewing The Crowded Room each and every week after Brandon was on Apple TV. So go check it out there. But if you don't care about Nancy Drew, you're in luck. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode review, so stay tuned until then. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Of course, always, please subscribe if you haven't yet. Like, favorite, share, ring the bell, and follow us on social media. But for all you members of the Drew crew out there, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. But until then, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.